Doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle. There's the beginning of the show. There's the beginning of the show. Yes, there's the buttons pushed. Da-da-da-da-dun. Dun, da. The beginning of the show. Why am I way over here? Let me scoot over. What's up, everybody? Oh, what's that on my head? Something shiny. I think it's water. Oh. What's up, everybody? It is Monday. I'm like super weird camera madness. There we go. That's more reasonable camera action. There we go. I had moved a bunch of things around down here. Putting up some more shelves down here in the studio, or at least trying to while I shuffle around. But how's everybody doing? It's Monday. We're back for another show. I don't know how long this show will be today. I don't know. Will it be 2 hours? Will it be 1.5 hours? Will it be 1 hour? I don't know. But because we're all kind of contingent on my voice / energy level. I don't know if you guys can notice, but that sickness from Friday pretty much put me down all weekend. There wasn't a whole lot getting done. There wasn't a whole lot of things happening around the house here other than me. Saturday, I basically was like taking naps and just out of it. I was just not good. Although yesterday we did get some stuff done around here, a couple things, and, just trying to recover. I will be back up at the aquarium co-op tomorrow for however long, but we'll have another show on Friday, and hopefully get some more edited content out to you this week. We'll see how it goes. I was working on some edits earlier, though they don't make a whole lot of sense so far, so may have to chop them up a little bit more and have them make some more sense. Because currently right now, they're sort of just like, what? I don't understand this video. Why is this a video? Yeah, weird. Yeah. So, but today, we're going to talk about water changes and that kind of stuff with your freshwater or saltwater aquariums, considering a pretty extensive experience with both, how you go about it, how do I go about it, what's the ins and outs, how to set your schedule, what's the point in doing water changes, what's the big deal. As you guys could notice from the thumbnail today, where did that thing go? I should probably load that in here. Let me see if I can't grab that thing real quick, and we can see if I can grab the raw image. There we go. Let's open that and take a look here. Okay. So this, I'll just leave that image kind of floating there because it's pretty. Let's, this is just the raw file. So let's schnazz it up a little bit. Let's bump the old color here, maybe a little contrast, lower it down. Maybe bring the saturation up a little bit. There we go. That looks cooler, right? Okay. So we'll just leave that thing floating there for a minute because that's kind of what inspired even making this video. So I wanted that to kind of sit up there and you guys can take a look at it and get kind of an idea of what I'm all about when it comes to water changes and things. But first things first, let's turn on this arrow. Sorry. The arrow sometimes makes its way into the show. There's some crazy rain going on outside right now, so pardon my distraction. I was like, what is that crazy noise? It's like, oh, some wild rain going on today. Off and on rainstorms today. Very weird. But today's show is brought to you because of the Patreon. If you guys have not spun by the Patreon page, check that out. We are crowdfunded here. That's the whole thing that we got going on. As you guys know, I'm not NBC. We don't have millions and millions of dollars at our disposal. We have 261 people who are down for the cause to try and get more filming and stuff like that. some of the upcoming projects going on with filming around here. I'm going to be tearing down the 240, which has already kind of begun. So wink, wink, that's coming kind of soon. I got a bunch of new hardscape going into that and stuff. And the time for that is made possible by the Patreon and members here on YouTube. I want to give a shout out to all the people that are members. We are currently, I've lost my counter. Where did my little counter go? I have to go here. Sorry, guys. I had this pulled up, but now the live stream is occupying the YouTube studio page that I had pulled up, so I have to pull up a new one. Where did it go? Let's see how many members we are up to. We have never hit 100, but we were at 83 before. Now we're at 82. Every single membership, every single patronizer, I appreciate you guys. Even if from $1 a month all the way up, I very much appreciate it. And because this is my show, you're darn right. I talk about it at the beginning of my show because it's my show. I don't know if anybody else out there is exactly advertising my show, so it's kind of comes down to me, right? To talk to you guys about, like, what's the deal, right? I always find it odd when I see other YouTubers have this, like, crazy criticism of other YouTubers when they talk and say thanks to people that support their channel and stuff. I always think it's funny. But we got that going on. We'll also be headed to the convention in the Netherlands that is named Vivarium. That will be the first weekend in November. As we headed out there, I'll be filming a couple of fish rooms. I'll be filming a couple stores and also the convention and bringing those videos back to you guys, along with some bunch of other crazy projects that are going on. A bunch of them I can't tell you about, but it's all been made possible by you guys. And big shout out on a Monday where I'm recovering from the death. And you guys know that I typically drink coffee on here, which I do have coffee, but I do have my smoothie today. I think you guys know when I'm not feeling good, I still drinking smoothies this late in the day. Which today's smoothie is frozen avocado, frozen blueberries, frozen raspberries. No, I think raspberries from our garden here. We grew those. Some spinach that I bought at some cheap old spinach, and some honey and whatnot. I see JH Aquatics shouting about Aquashella or bust. I am not going to Aquashella. I'm not going to the Aquatic Experience this year. I'm not going to either one of those. So I'm glad that JH is going. Joseph, it's good to hear that you're headed there. But I see Marco Peterson says greets from the Netherlands, awaiting for that event. So I hope to see Marco there. I know we'll see Johan. I know a bunch of other people are going, and it should be. I think it should be fun. I think it should be pretty educational, and hopefully bring some content to you guys that won't be just a photocopy of a lot of the other content that you'll probably see on YouTube. So that's one of my big motivators, and also, believe it or not, to anybody out there, it's gonna cost me less to go to the Netherlands to go to Vivarium than either going to Aquashella or Aquatic Experience. So I priced out how much it cost to going to, let's see, the Aquatic Experience last year. How much did that cost? That cost about $2,200, plus the time I missed from work. So I mean, just call it $2,500. It's pretty easy to figure out. When I went to Chicago for the other Aquatic Experience, it was right around that $2,000 mark. And the thing is, to go to Europe with the hotel and all that stuff, like the hotel was much cheaper. That's one of the things that people were like, I don't understand why it was so expensive to go to New Jersey. And it's like flying into Newark for whatever reason is crazy expensive. So the tickets, when I looked those up, it was actually cheaper to fly to the Netherlands than it would have been to fly to Newark, New Jersey, which, hey, I like New Jersey. I think New Jersey was great. I had a good time when I was there, but I don't know. I feel like the Netherlands has a little more history, a couple other things that I could film. I really do hope to spin by a couple of the historical spots. I haven't really figured out exactly, historically speaking, where I want to go. So I wouldn't pin anything down exactly yet. But I am kind of perusing around of what the plan is with that. So it definitely was kind of one of those things where I was like, look, cost versus the content. I think the content will be way better. So, like hotel was super expensive. The flights were super expensive. It's a long weekend. So yeah, I figure, hey, I could meet like 50 people at Aquashella or Aquatic Experience. I could probably meet 50 people at Vivarium. So feels like I'm going to probably meet the same amount of people, right? And I think the content is like, going to be way different, right? William Jansen is wondering if does Aquashella sponsor any YouTubers, or do they spend income to improve everything? I don't know. I don't have anything to do with coordinating that event. I know that last year, I think earlier in the year, they sent out an email. I got an email that said if I made a promo video, they would donate $100 to a charity. So I just donated $100 instead and didn't make a video about either of those things. So yeah, I don't know if they do. I've never gotten any information about any of that stuff, so I don't know. Marco Peterson says, "Hey Joel, if you're passing by, Zodermeer, you're welcome to stop by at our house." Well, I'll be at the event at Vivarium. I don't know exactly the hours or whatever I'll be there, but we'll be there. I know I'll be meeting up there with Chris Lukup. I already talked with him. Like, he's going to be there. So, I mean, I don't know how many languages Chris speaks, but he seems to speak a lot of languages or whatever. So maybe if there's anything crazy going on, I can get Chris to interpret or whatever, or figure out what's going on. So it should be pretty exciting. Like, there's some people that are going to be there that I'm not going to mention because that's their own thing if they're going to mention it or not. But I know Chris had already said that he's going to be there and stuff. So that's going to be pretty fun. So I bet if you find Chris, you could find me, or at least get pointed in the right direction, So, but it looks like fun, and I definitely am happy to stop by if we have any time to go by and film anybody's fish room. I am 100%. I don't know how to explain that correctly. I kind of felt like I was about to say a sentence that was going to be incorrect. I'm 100% committed to continuing to do more interviews on my YouTube channel of aquascapers, fish keepers, fish breeders, that kind of stuff. And I'm committed to improving and getting better. And I think I was looking at some of my old fish room tours, store tours, that kind of stuff. And I feel like I have been getting better and better. I feel like, 5 years from now or something like that, I'm going to be like, if I just keep going, I'm going to be making stuff that I would probably be proud of. Like, I don't feel like I'm 100% proud of what I'm making right now, but I think at the level of skill and equipment and that kind of stuff that I have, like, I have room to improve, but I'm getting more and more happy with some of the stuff that I'm putting out. So we're gonna keep doing that, and if we have time to stop by and check out your projects and interview whoever, then we'll definitely do that. I do have my coffee here though too. Yeah, so I guess we got a little sidetracked there a little bit. Bentley says they might sponsor a couple of the largest names, but even then, I'm pretty sure Corey is paying his way, as I recall. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Like I said, I'm not sure about any of that stuff one way or another. I guess I could ask Corey, but like I said, I've never been contacted other than if I would make a YouTube video about it, they would donate money. And I felt like, I don't know. I felt like that was sort of, I don't know. I just felt like that was a really weird way to go about like getting advertising promotion. I don't know. It's kind of weird. And so I think people that watch this show like kind of religiously probably remember that happening and remember me just talking about donating. I just donated like $100 to the Salvation Army. So when I was over there, Joel G says I can interview him, but he's going to swear. Well, I could always just bleep out your swears. Not a big deal. Let's see. Zodermere equals Sweet Lake. Ooh, all right. I'm probably saying it 100% wrong, but I also have this congestion and coughing and stuff still, so that's definitely helpful. Deborah Sanders says, I'd go to the Netherlands. Yeah, that was kind of my thing, is that like I had to kind of weigh out what it was I was going to do or not do, because, I also have to spend time away from my family, so that's an added thing. It was bad enough when I have to spend time away from Vicky, but on top of that, I have to spend time away from Olivia also, so all that stuff kind of adds up. And luckily, my mother was like, oh, I could be there for the November weekend and have grandma time with Olivia. So I was like, oh, kind of that's just going to be fine. So I was like, okay. Let's see. Okay, so we don't, who was first to the chat? Was it Brian P? I don't know, I missed that. It's been scrolling a bunch, and we missed it. I don't know who was first. 100 million people watching right now. So yeah, we're up to 100 million live viewers. That's pretty good. Can't really complain when there's 100 million live viewers, We do have a brand new Patreonizer during the show, you guys. Thank you very much. I will say Sandra, because I don't know what your handle is, but we'll say Sandra, and I'll say thank you very much. Appreciate that. Where did my screen go? I lost my screen, guys. It's gone. Yeah. Is it this one? No, it's this one. Go over here. Then we click this button over here. Hoya! Oh, it's working good. I do not like how this is working. I realized I was watching, or I had tuned in for a second on the Aquarium Co-op stream over the weekend, and he got himself a Stream Deck. And then one of these days I'm going to have to get myself a Stream Deck so I can go between screens. Someday. Okay, so let's go to our topic for the day, which is water changes. I know that it's one of the more common questions that I've gotten over the years, is that because they're like, people are always like, well, you have like these like crazy planted aquariums with all this stuff going on, and you have all these plants, and you have all these fish, and you have all this stuff, and I'm super confused. So what's the deal here? It's I always have to remember not to like accidentally throw out somebody's name that doesn't want their name on here. Let's say that their name was Richard. I have a friend who had gotten into keeping fish and keeping aquariums. They had gotten one off of Craigslist. It was kind of a good deal, right? Which I always recommend that to people. Like, if you're looking for a tank, always go on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, something like that. Find something local. You can often find a really good deal on a tank that is normally in good shape. Just be a little discerning with your taste, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't buy something that's broken. Don't buy something that is a bad deal, but you could definitely find some good deals on there with people that I think one of the things that I see more often than not is that people buy a stand tank, filter whole setup combo thing, and then they run it for a little while, and for whatever reason they have to like relocate, move to a different town or something like that, and they decide not to take it with them, and they're like, well, I bought this thing for $2,000, and I'll take $400 if you come get it, So, I always recommend that to most people, just to watch out, for good used deals out there that you can find. Is this thing broken? I think this thing I'm playing with is broken. It's not operating. Oh, man. There's too many things on here that could be broken. Maybe that's why it's on my desk. Maybe I put it on my desk so I would fix it. But yeah, definitely if you're going to be getting in, get yourself a new used. Get something that's new to you and not necessarily brand new off the floor. It's not always going to be the best deal, but sometimes you do have to go to the brand new stuff because of something specific that you're looking for. So that bear in mind that sometimes that does happen, and depending on your area. I happen to live in an area where there'll be a lot of used stuff because there's like 8 million people that live in Washington. So it's fairly populated on this side that I live on. I live in the Western Washington part. It's fairly populated over here. A lot of people moving and grooving and doing things. So you see a lot of stuff coming up. Oh, what was that? What did I see there? Who did I see in the chat? Where did that go? Did it get deleted? What? What happened here? Where did Aquarium? Oh, there it is. Aquarium Adventures says, evening all, lurking in the background, but Netherlands versus New Jersey is a no-brainer. I would say I do hope to see Aquarium Adventures in the Netherlands. That's a short flight for all the Brits and Irish and Scottish and Welsh, and who else is in the UK? Who else is in the United Kingdom? Let's see. United Kingdom countries. There it is. Let's see. What do we got? England, Scotland, and Wales. Oh, is that it? Oh, and Northern Ireland. So some of the Irish, but not the regular Irish. I don't know what that means. So Northern Ireland is in the UK. Okay. Yeah, I get that confused. I've only I gotta go to the UK and walk the grounds there and check out some of the houses from my favorite show in the whole world. If you guys don't know what show that is, who knows what show is my favorite show? I wonder if somebody in the chat will know. But 66 million people live in the UK. Their new prime minister is, we got England, Scotland, and Wales, which collectively make up Great Britain, and Northern Ireland, which is variously described as a country, province, or region. Okay, so Ireland is its own. You're not in the UK, but Northern Ireland is in there. But Wales is in there, so the Welsh could come. The Brits could come. Yeah. I don't want to start like some kind of, revolt here. We don't want to start an angry revolution. But, so it's a short flight for everybody coming over from the UK, Germany, France, Spain, Portugal, Hungary. I hope the guys from Green Aqua are going to be there. I don't know if they're going or not. I haven't asked them. I should probably send them a text. Alex Netternudes says, Breaking Bad? Nope. That is not my favorite show. Marco Peterson says, P.S., let's know what's your coffee recipe so we can make sure you get your coffee right way when you pass by. Let's call it Joel's Coffee. To be honest, like, in Europe, every time I've been there, it's like a latte, espresso, whatever you guys That's fine. I'm totally cool with that. I like a couple of espresso shots with some cream and like one sugar. That's basically it. And if you're making a pot of coffee, like you want the spoon to, you want it. I want coffee. I don't want tea. You know, I don't want tea that has a light dusting of coffee in it. You know. Patrick Woodlock says, I just joined Patreon for $1 a month. Sorry it's not more, but I'm currently looking for work at the moment. Your plant videos have helped me out so much. I'm from the Republic of Ireland. Okay, cool. So we just learned Northern Ireland versus the Republic of Ireland. Okay, yeah, okay. I mean, I would love to say that I had more information about the United Kingdom, but to be really honest with you guys, it's cursory. My knowledge of the UK and stuff is more the super ancient history where England was invading the world, and then the more, contemporary stuff, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. It seems like a bit of a mess, but it should be fun when I'm over there, because every time I'm over there, I have a good time. So, Big D Smoke says, oh, there we go. Rob the Butcher's got it. Favorite show is Grand Designs. Yes, that is got to be my favorite show. It's my favorite show, and here's how favorite of a show it is. Here's how you guys can know how much I really like a show. Is honestly, if there's a season that I haven't seen yet, I'm one of those guys that will like if I really like a show, I'll watch like last year's season and save a season. Like oh, I don't know, man, if the show gets canceled, I can at least like watch another season. Except for shows like The Walking Dead or whatever, when everyone's going to talk about whoever died, right? Like if somebody dies, then you're like, great, thanks for telling me when I came to work. It's like I came to work and everyone was talking about, whoever died, and then you're like, oh, great. Now I don't want to watch that episode because I'm going to know who died already. And it's hardly going to be as good or as shocking as I thought it was going to be. Hold on, is somebody messaging me? What's going on here? Oh, no. Oh, wow, we got two more patronizers, you guys. Marco, thank you very much. And Patrick, there we go. Well, thank you very much, you guys. Like I said, I've said this time and time again. Don't ever be sad about becoming a Patreon at $1 a month, because $1 a month is more that you could ever generate for one of your YouTube, somebody who's doing stuff, creating content. If you're talking about them making money off of ad sales or stuff like that, like the commercials that play and things, you as a person contributing $1 a month is more than you could ever contribute by watching all of the stuff that anybody's ever made. So, thank you very much, and I appreciate it. And it also is one of those things that, like, when we take the opportunity to go talk to potential sponsors, like it's a company or something like that, the reality is, like, let's say Patreon was $1,000 a month, right? And it was 2 people, right? Like, you go like, well, yay, Patreon's like $1,000 a month, right? But it was only 2 people. If I was to go to a company and be like, well, look, the Patreon's doing quite well, blah, 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 they would go like, well, there's only 2 people. There's really only like 2 people that are super excited about your content, right? Now, I wouldn't be, less thankful to those people or whatnot, but when you're talking about a company, if you go like, oh, I've got 1,000 people on Patreon that are all willing to spend $1 on the content that I make if you were to go to a company, whereas if you had 2 people, right? So it could be the same amount of money, but the reality is that you go, 1,000 people. So believe you me, like all the dollar people, all the $5 people, $10 people, $20 people, like it's all works out to be crazy helpful. So yeah, I don't know why I went on another Patreon explanation, but let's see, where were we at? What were we talking about? Oh, we're going to get into some water change talk and I started talking about Craigslist, and then I started talking about some other nonsense, so sorry about that. But anyhow, so Richard, with air quotes, I'll call him Richard, kept coming to me. It was going like, look, so what am I doing with my tank? I don't know what's going on here. How do I cycle my tank? How do I do this? How do I do that? Now, assuming that everybody here is well acquainted with the nitrogen cycle, right? You know how to cycle your tank. You get your bacteria going. Things are going well, and in order to get to that point, you've probably learned how to test the water, right? You probably have some kind of test kit around, whether it be liquid or test strips. I personally am not convinced by test strips. Personally, I'm personally not convinced by test strips. I think that they do work. But whatnot. Let's see. I think that they do work, but I just think that they're so easy for them to get to being either misread or inaccurate. You dunk them in the water, you take them out of the water, and the reality is that they're super easy to misread. It's super easy to put them in the water for too long. Maybe you shake them off too quickly. Maybe you leave them sit there. Maybe you leave them sit there for a second and maybe it's been 20 seconds that it's been exposed to this or that. I feel like there's just too much variation with just dunking a thing in there and then going looks like 0.5. Oh no. Whereas there is also a lot of error with liquid, right? There still can be error with liquid and stuff like that, but the error is just, I find it to be a lot less often and a lot less to a degree that would really throw things out of whack, if that kind of makes sense. If you're to really, you're going through the trouble of making sure that you have X amount of drops in here, figure out what's going on, you could actually go back, do it again, check out what's happening. One of the cool things that I like about liquid is that you go through you get your liquid kit, you get your liquid going, you can set it down. Like with the nitrate, you actually have to shake it up, all that kind of stuff, and set it down and let it sit so that you can get an accurate reading out of it. So you can actually come back out on it and figure out what's going on, right? You get a lot more accurate tests out of the liquid, in my experience. Some people have a perfect track record with the test strips and stuff like that, but in my experience, you just come out with a lot better results with the liquid kit. So that's the direction I go, and I always recommend people to go that route. It's more it's just, in my experience, it's more accurate, and it comes out to a better, more accurate result. So when we come down to those parts, right? Once I talked to Richard about how to get his test kit together and figure out the nitrogen cycle, then he kind of knew what was going on with, he was testing, he was getting these results, he was finding this, he's finding that. Then you get to a point where he's like, well, how often should I be doing water changes? And recently on the Discord, one of the ways that you can get onto the Discord is become a Patreon and stuff like that. And let's see, who was it that was asking? I think it was. Oh yeah. I want to make sure. Where was it? Who was asking? Oh shoot! I want to make sure I give credit where credit's due. Maybe they changed it. Oh, it was Glenn. That's who it was. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure that Glenn knows. It's like Glenn was asking this because he had cut down a bunch of stuff in his tank. He'd taken out a bunch of things. He was trying to figure out what was going on with BBA. And it kind of reminded me that, like, oh, yeah, water changes, light cycle, all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to kind of talk about the water change situation. So a lot of people use nitrates as their water change, ammonia as their water change, nitrites as their water change. I use the calendar more often than not. And to some people, they go, what? And the reasoning for that is that oh, weird. Anyhow, so a lot of people kind of get shocked by the fact that I'd be using a calendar as opposed to testing, right? And the reason for that is because I've gone through the nitrogen cycle. I have a lot of filtration in my system in the way of biological load is be able to handle, right? So I have a ton of plants in there. I have a ton of substrate in there. I have a ton of biological media in there. I have a ton of water in there. I have a lot of surface area and stuff like that. But what I don't have is the actual volume in comparison to this giant lake right here. Whoops. Oh, I moved the wrong thing. I click this. Oh, come on. I'm literally have this highlighted. There. Now it'll move around. So what I have a tendency to do is that if I continue to go just by the test strips, I don't ever get an ammonia reading, right? I don't ever get a nitrite reading. The only thing I can ever go off of if I was to go through the standard master test kit is that I get nitrates, right? But considering my tank looks kind of similar to, oh no, I have to move the arrow up so I can point at things. There we go. Like the hills of this greenery here, right? Considering I have a ton of plants in there, nitrate isn't even a good indicator for me to go off of when to do a water change, right? Because I add a lot of fertilizers, which gives me a false, not necessarily a air quote false nitrate reading, but it'll give you an elevated nitrate reading when adding fertilizers. So let's say I go grab some Easy Green fertilizer. I go to put that in my tank. Let's say I put 12 pumps in there or something, right? I put 12 pumps in there. Then I go to do my test kits like an hour later, right? I'll be like, oh, wow, nitrate is at 80 parts per million. Oh, no, right? But the reality is if I actually just leave those nitrates in there with that fertilizer, like tomorrow it'll be 70, the next day it'll be 50, the next day it'll be 30, the next day it'll be 10, and then before you know it, I've already bottomed out, right? So as you guys know, I will typically just add fertilizer throughout the week. So I just have a bottle sitting up there, and I know this tank gets 2 a day, this one gets 3 a day, this one gets 2, 1, you know, that kind of stuff. So as we go through that stuff, if I was to just use nitrate as an indicator, I'd end up with a problem, right? So if I'm going off of a calendar, how often do I do water changes? Now, when I go off of a calendar, I go every 2 weeks, I do a big water change. Now, as you guys know, my tanks are kind of big and I'm running them on sumps. So the funny thing is that I don't go, when I do a water change, I don't go and fill up buckets. I don't do any of that stuff. I literally set a timer on my phone, right, for how long I do a water change on each tank. So every 2 weeks, and I kind of have a tendency to alternate. So I'll do the 2 tanks on this side, the 2 tanks on the other side. So I'll do them, every Saturday or Sunday. I might be off by a day or something like that. And then I go timed, right? So I do a timed water change, which typically is about, between 12 and 14 minutes, generally speaking, that I'm just running full steam. So if I start out and test my water, right, I'll go, oh, okay, I don't have any ammonia, I don't have any nitrite, my nitrate's at like 10, something like that, because I typically don't add any fertilizer on Fridays or Saturdays. Then I'm like, okay, if I do a big giant water change, I'll add in my safe. I use Seachem Safe. There are a bunch of Seachem products out there that I do use. I know that on the Discord today, people were posting about, how I was making fun of Matrix back in the day. And to be honest with you guys, like, I still wouldn't buy Matrix because it is pumice, and however many times I argued with that company about that, it just became such a waste of time, arguing with those guys. But it is pumice, and so I don't spend that much money on pumice. I'll just be honest with you. Even if it is high quality pumice, I just don't spend that kind of money on it. But needless to say, I do use a bunch of Seachem products. I do like Seachem as a company. I think that they're great and everything. I just don't want to pay that much for pumice. But like, their aquascaping tools are great. Unfortunately, you can't order them online. You can only get them in store. I wish you could order them online, because I would constantly tell you guys to go buy them. But instead, go to Aquarium Co-op and get the Aquarium Co-op aquascaping tools. Where did those go? Aquascape tools. Where did those go? Oh, no. There's none there. Tools doesn't come up in the search. Well, that's not very helpful. I'll have to tell. Let's see. Plants, fertilizer. Do they not sell tools anymore? Is that what's going on? Let's see. Home. Wood and rocks, plant supplies. Maybe it's in plant supplies? Yeah. What's this pop down like goes away? Water care equipment, heaters, lights. Test kits, cleaning supplies, water additives, breeder supplies. Plant supplies, maybe? Oh, there's tweezers. Oh, so you have to look up tweezers. We got tweezers and scissors. Oh, yeah. I have a bunch of these. These actually work pretty good. Copy. Oh, no. I have to make an affiliate link. Link generator. No. No worries. I already got it. Yeah, but before I get completely sidetracked. There, let's go back, and then let's go back to here, and then let's turn this back on, there, and there's the link for those tweezers and curved scissors. Oh, Candy's in the chat. Candy, you might want to remind those guys that if you go to the Aquarium Co-op page and you search tools, you get no results. Unless I spelt it wrong. Let me see. I'm going to try it again. Search bar, TOOLS. I get crushed coral, Salifert dissolved oxygen test kit, which is a pretty strange test kit to actually be carrying, but and a very useful test kit. I didn't even realize that the Co-op, I probably walked past that 100 times and I didn't even know that they have that. But you get crushed coral and dissolved oxygen test kit if you search tools. All right. Which, I don't know. That might not be helpful for people like me that went there and were looking to find tools. You know what I mean? I mean, it would be funnier had I gone and search tools at the aquarium co-op, and it had just been a picture of me. I think that would have been better. If it had just been like, I'm looking for a tool. And it had just been like, here you go. And it was a picture of me. That would have been funny. But I think just no result is just kind of boring. Goosey says, because if I don't like where they are, I can't move my giant rock. I don't know what that means. Marco Peterson says, I'm off. It's super late night. Wish you a good day. God bless. Oh, I'll see you later. L Flower 1 stars. A while ago was asking if I'd gotten my flu shot because the cough doesn't sound good. Yes, I am getting better, though. That's the thing. I was sick. I was sick on Friday. If you guys didn't notice, I was really sick on Friday. Today, I'm just recovering. So, I'm recovering from the sickness. I've got the it's like, I had like the fever and I was super bad. Now I just have like that where it's like, it's migrated into we're going to be mucus for a day or two, like I don't feel terrible. But now it's just kind of coughing and sounding like, be like, hey, everybody down in the river. I can't sing any song. I'll get copyright. I'll get a copyright infringement. So, I'm sorry we got sidebarred by that. I started talking about CChem and got all crazy off there. So, what I normally recommend to people is there's two ways to go about your water changes. One, you have to do water changes if ammonia or nitrite are showing up. It's time to do a water change, and it's also time to check the water coming out of the tap. Ginger was actually asking about this just a little while ago in the Discord. She has had what seems to be some ammonia poisoning, ammonia toxicity, and things that are going on in her tank. And I know that she is intelligently running her system, but there are some things to definitely remind people out there that the water companies are flushing things through the system. Things are changing throughout the seasons, right? And the water coming out of your tap isn't always going to be the same. Now, there are some parts of the world that have hyper-processed water that is going to essentially be the same thing, right, throughout the year. But that's kind of rare, especially in the U.S., because this picture right here, one of the reasons I have this picture up here, right, this is actually a watershed, you guys. So, right in this picture right here, you could see all this water, right? See all this crazy, crazy amounts of water. Why can't I grab the thing that I'm highlighting? You silly software program. Okay, so all this water right here, is it going to be gone? That's all runoff that's being held back by a man-made dam, which, by the way, is amazing. And it's awesome. And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But a lot of this water is going to be draining off in about a 3 to 4 week period. Right? Which is going to change all of the water down the stream. It's going to change all of the watershed around it, because you're going to be releasing all this water. It's going to be heading somewhere. So it's going to change the water. It's going to change the irrigation down below, down in stream. It's going to change the drinking water that people are getting. Even if they're all pulling from a well, it's still going to be affecting that water table, everything that's going on in the area. So even if you're pulling water from a well, there's certain things like this upstream that you might not, maybe you know about it. Maybe you know it's a thing that's going on, but you weren't necessarily paying attention directly to your day-to-day calendar. Maybe you're just busy with work. Maybe if you're like me and you do your water changes on a specific day out of the week and don't really think, oh, it's September now, things are different. But the water coming out of your tap is going to go through changes, especially if you have a fairly proactive water district like I do, that they are going to change chloramine. They're going to change chlorine. They're actually going to push ammonia sometimes through the pipes and things like that. The area that I live in, you know, the water system around here has been changed, modified, adapted, put in, taken out. Things happen all the time. They're replacing stuff. But a lot of those pipes have been in the ground for, you know, some pipes out here have been in the ground for 100 years. So they do the best that they can to try and maintain those pipes from the inside by pushing things down line to, you know, knock away corrosive materials, things like that, that are fine for humans, right? It's fine for us to drink. It's not going to be that big of a deal, right? But fish breathing that water in can have all sorts of problems, and it could definitely be an issue, right? The Fish Tank Barn is asking, you may have said this earlier, but what is your opinion on auto water changes? I think auto water changing systems are great. I think personally the one that I've found to work the best has been the drip water change system, which is actually just drip, 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 drip. Now, the amount of drips that are going into that system, and then it's going to overflow and go down a drain or be caught, you know, collected and used some other way. The way that you want to, the way that you want to do the math on those drips, the drip auto water change systems, is that by the end of the week, you end up with 100% of a water change. Now, that's a lot to do if you're somebody that is, you know, if you were going to do 100% water change, like on Saturday, you're going to shock that whole system. But if you're doing 100% over the whole entire week, right, you got 24 hours in the day, 7 days in the week, I think that's 168, right, whatever. So 100% divided by 168, right, so you're only doing like less than 1% an hour, so it actually can change over all that water over the whole entire week, and it works fantastically. KG Ciclet says an inline carbon block. Yes, if you're going to do something like that, you're definitely going to need to have a carbon block and a micron 2-micron filter in line ahead of that. You always want to make sure that that stuff is there, and nowadays they actually have an alarm that you can plumb into the line that will let you know if the TDS has jumped from something to something else, right? So let's say if your TDS is normally 20, like mine normally is, right? And you put that carbon block, you put that micron filter there, maybe it drops the TDS only down to 10, right? Which is still pretty darn good. Now, the alarm wouldn't necessarily go off if it was at 10, but if it was all of a sudden 30, right, then the alarm would go off. It'll let you know that, oh, hey, your filters have just suddenly given out. Time to go turn the system off and change your filters. That's basically what you'd want. Those systems are actually pretty available now because they utilize them in restaurants. A lot of restaurants, any good restaurants that is, utilize those ahead of their ahead of any of the water that's going into the coffee makers, any of the high-end equipment that has water going through it, ice machines, all that kind of stuff. Most restaurants use those now, so you can actually find those units fairly affordable. Let me see if I can find one real quick because I know I have a bunch in my store. Here's a 3-stage water filter. Where are the ones that I'm looking for? Like the restaurant ones. I want to show you guys what this one looks like because the restaurant ones are kind of... No. Where are they? They seem to always pop up unless I'm live on the internet in front of like a whole lot of people. This will normally just like it'll be hanging around off the side of my Amazon page. That's the filters for it, but where's the actual housing? Oh, and that's way too much. That one's like $400. What is that garbage? big blue one does work, but we actually do want to have the well, come on now, where's the one? While I look through these. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah. So let me get you guys a link so you can actually look at this. If anybody wants to get something like this, cool. That one works right here. Oh, where'd it go? And by the way, if you guys do buy things through my Amazon link, yes, it does. It does. We do get a kickback. And by the way, if you just go through our Amazon links and go to Amazon, it doesn't even matter what you buy. Like, it just gives us, it basically passes the credit on to me that I sent you to Amazon, and then they're like, oh, cool. This guy sent him to Amazon, and you bought stuff on Amazon, and he said Amazon on his TV show, and then we went there, and the chopper. I don't know. Sorry. It got weird there for a second. I apologize. And then here's the big blue one, which I've installed these ones on houses in the past, but I've never actually had one of these installed in my own house because they're like $150 or something. So the big blue ones are pretty cool and definitely worthwhile to look into. MD Fish Tank says, oh, finally made it. Well, what's up? Oh, I should probably go to bed, but I can't now. Oh, I don't know how late is it over there? Yeah, it's got to be like 1 a.m. now, I think. Let's see. I don't know if the UK is 9 hours ahead or 8 hours ahead. Can't remember. But to everybody in Europe, I am going to be doing the earlier streams on that every other Friday, just so people know what's going on. But, yeah, if I was going to do an auto water changing system, I would put those filter blocks ahead. I would put the alarm on there, and I would do the drip water change, not on a timer. It should just be a steady drip water change. And the way to do that is that you can actually just put the drip into a measuring device. I would prefer something like a 2-quart or maybe even an 8-quart. Get the drip going, measure it, and just set it so that you can actually get it set to the right thing. And get it in place. Bentley Pascal says, Joel, install one of those crazy things at my place. Okay, yeah, cool. We can do that. It's actually not the craziest install. We just have to, cut off some water lines and plumb the dang thing in. It's actually not that crazy. But let's see. Jennifer says it's midnight. Out in, so the UK, it's midnight. So like Germany and stuff, it must be 1 a.m. So, okay, so the UK is 8 hours ahead right now until whenever daylight savings kicks in, whenever that's going to happen. And things will get weird, as always. So, if I was going to do an automatic water change system, that's the one that I definitely recommend. Do your measurements, have a pre-filter on there, and put an alarm to make sure that you know if that when those filters go out. You know, it's kind of easy to say, like, oh, yeah, I go and I check on those filters. I mean, the honest to goodness thing is that, like, if those filters are rated at 50,000 gallons, you're probably not going to remember to check it by the time 50,000 gallons comes around. You know what I mean? Like, that's a long period of time to just be like, oh yeah, I should go check those filters. You know, so, and most people don't, you know what I mean? Most people don't go, and just check on them and know that it's been specifically, to know that it's specifically been 50,000 gallons. It's kind of hard to track. So, you know, I would definitely recommend getting one of those alarms so that you can know that if it has changed. Oddball Aquatic says, Joel, you're going to send me a dance video. Probably not. I feel like I'm committed to a lot of stuff right now, and I'm also not going to that convention, so I don't feel hyper motivated, honestly. I feel like we should make a different video, though. Like, I'd be down for that. I'd be down to make some videos. I gotta figure out how to come out there and make what is it? Dragon, tiger, wizard, fish tank, energy, chi, chakra, fish tank build. Which would be cool. I'm coughing still, so the mucus and everything is wild. Alyssa says, that's a good question. About to break mine down. What's going on? My first year with the summer tubs from Ginger Graves. Do I quarantine when I bring them in? Use medications? How long? What meds? I think personally I would quarantine them with the med trio before I added them into tanks, because it's a real easy, slippery slope to treat your own fish like everything's going fine because they're your own fish. I think it's that same thing where it's like, that's not my kid. My kid didn't do that, and then you find out later on that your kid actually did karate chop the other kid in the face, right? And you're like, oops. So, I mean, I think it's one thing to know if you have healthy fish and move them from tank to tank. I personally do that, but I don't give that advice. Like, it's just not good advice to give out. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. But any fish that are coming from outside, inside, I would certainly just quarantine them, make sure that they're healthy, that kind of stuff, before I go adding them into my display tanks. But there are a lot of people out there just have a ton of holding tanks. Like Dean, he has all those breeding tanks and stuff like that. So if he brought some fish from outside and just put them into a bare tank, right, on the inside that was cycled, that might be fine. So, but for me, you know, most of mine have, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds of hardscape and substrate and plants and rocks and sticks and all the kind of crazy stuff going on. The last thing I'd want to do is bring in some kind of either parasite or toxin or something from outside and bring it inside. So I would quarantine them if I was bringing them in. But that's also why you guys notice that I don't personally make the summer tub videos. I feel like it creates a ton of extra work for people. Then I feel, you know what I mean? Like, I'm super happy to be making pond videos and stuff like that, right? And sorry guys, that's one of the funnier that's one of the funnier comments. That's one of the funnier troll comments I've seen in a long time. That's great. Excuse me. Oh, that's funny. Sorry. A lot of you won't know what I'm laughing about because it's already been moderated a long time ago. But it popped up. It's just making me laugh. Oh, it's funny. Good job. Good job. Good job, world. You've done us proud on a glorious Monday. You make us laugh with your laughy fart butt jokes. What was that? Somebody running around upstairs? I don't know. Dogs are up there barking and running around. There's probably a ghost here, and they're probably going to try and murder me. I would guess if I had to. Should I check all the cameras? Ghosts! Oh, it's the postman. I can see him. Anyhow. So where were we at? Yes. So we were literally Actually, wait, where was I? TDS meter, drip system. I don't know. I forgot. Bentley Pascal says, let's see, 50,000 gallons if we could get the filter set to only work on my tanks. Currently, I'd need to replace it once a year, and that would be doing it early by 3 months. Well, I was just using that as an example. I'm not, depends on the filters. They're all different. Some of them are 10,000 gallons. Some are 2,000 gallons. They're all different, but it really just boils down to the specific filter that's going in there. So I would bear that in mind, that it's not like a standing order that all filters last for 50,000 gallons, because that's not the case. They're all different. We got a brand new patronizer, Kathy. Woo, thanks, Kathy, for coming in. $5 a month. Good Lord, that's a lot of money. Thank you very much. Very much appreciate your support, and we shall keep making YouTube videos, right? Doing the pod cart. Is this a pod cart or a pod stream? This might be a pod stream cart. MD Fish Tanks, the name was funny too. Yes, it was a pretty funny name also. But I don't think that they could take credit for that name. Let's see. Deborah Sanders says, what are good TDS parameters? It's a good point. I think a lot of people get confused by TDS. TDS just literally stands for total dissolved solids. I've seen a lot of people out there give a real misrepresentation of testing for TDS and finding out what's going on. TDS meters were essentially brought into the aquarium hobby, right? Because salt water aquarists, I don't know if I want to say reefers, because now we probably just got flagged and demonetized because they probably think we're talking about weed or whatever. But coral aquariums, coral growing saltwater aquariums, there we go. When you filter your water, you need your TDS to come down to 0 before you mix your salt in, so you know exactly what's going into the water. You'll end up with cyanobacteria. You'll end up with algae blooms all over the place if you don't, is the real basic explanation. So when you filter your water down, you get it down to 0 TDS. You get those little TDS meters. You find out what's going on, and you see what's happening. Now, TDS doesn't tell you what is dissolved in the water. That's the problem. The only thing that the TDS meter is telling you is the conductivity of the water. It's sending an electrical charge from one probe to the other probe, and it's telling you how conductive the water is. Water isn't very conductive on its own. It needs to have some kind of metal in it. It needs to have something to carry that charge. So the more TDS, total dissolved solids, in the water column, the higher the number, right, is more conductive, or has a higher conductivity. There we go. And that's basically all that it's telling you. It's just telling you that there is something in the water column. It's not telling you if there's arsenic in the water. It's not telling you if there's mercury in the water. It's not telling you if there's ammonia or chlorine or chloramines or phosphates or anything. It's not telling you anything about that. It's just telling you a number that they call total dissolved solids, TDS, which is actually a measurement of the conductivity of the water itself, right? So a TDS number doesn't really mean anything unless you know what that TDS is. So that's where people get really kind of messed up about utilizing, the TDS probes, because you could take water that has 0 TDS, take some catappa leaves, throw those in there, right? Leave it in there for a week and come back a week later, suddenly your TDS is at 400, right? Which most of it is the breaking down of those leaves, and it's just generally like high tannin-rich water, which should be okay, but we got to test the water to find out what's going on. Was there possibly some other organics introduced Is the organics introduced from the catappa leaves causing a large ammonia spike in the water? We don't really necessarily know that unless we're actually testing for the specific things that we're trying to find out. So the TDS meter will tell you there's a change, right? So if you put a filter in line, right? You put that filter in line and it's filtering your normal water, right? Your normal water's coming in there. It's being filtered through that pass filter, and it's giving you a number of, say, 80, right? And you're like, oh, 80 is my normal number. You would know that TDS meter, something's going on with the filter, right? If you've been running it for 2 months and now the TDS meter's at 150, right? You'd be like, well, it's normally 80, now it's 150. Seems to me that filter's not working properly, right? Nowadays they have ones that if you hit a certain number, it will either like flash a light, it could beep, it could do any number of things. I'm sure you can buy a super expensive one that sends you a text message while you're out at the Olive Garden getting some free breadsticks, if you know what I'm saying. Hey, Friday night, breadsticks. I'm telling you, Vicky and I got to go down to a Friday night Olive Garden free breadstick extravaganza, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know if we'll order entrees. Maybe we'll just order a bowl of Alfredo sauce and get ourselves some breadsticks, right? I've never done that before. Wink, wink, wink. You know what I'm saying. Wow, only 0.4K members to 25,000. Oh, subscribers. Yeah, we need a lot more members to get to 25,000 members. And by the way, if we got to 25,000 members, I have no idea what to do with myself. I would start a YouTube film company if that was the case. If we were at 25,000 members, I would just hire a whole bunch of people and just start making videos nonstop, constantly, all of the time. Then putting them into movie theaters. I don't know. We're at 82 members. So we're a few off from the 25,000. Cheryl Evans says, I've just lost a black bar neon green male endler to what I think was whirling disease. Should I quarantine his brother? That's hard to say from that information. I guess. From that information, that's a very limited information. I don't know what's going on with the tank, any of that kind of stuff. But that's one of the reasons that we have the Discord, you guys. I've mentioned this a few times. The Discord is associated with the Patreon page or the memberships on YouTube. It's sort of the gateway to getting access to it. Like I said, you could be like $1 a month on the Patreon, and that's not a lot. But that gives you access to the Discord. It also gives you access to the Patreon community, all that kind of stuff. So if you have questions, you need to post pictures, all that kind of stuff, then it's a great way to go. But it's very hard to answer So Cheryl, I'm not trying to be mean or say like, you got to pay me money or whatever. I'm saying it's super hard with that limited amount of information to give you a good answer, but hopefully medicate and it'll turn around. But I'm always kind of worried if you only had 2 fish in a tank, like you had the black bar endlers and you only had 2 in there. I mean, I think people that have been following the channel know that I started with a male and female guppy, just 1 each, because I was like, boy howdy, check me out. I'm the man. I could do this. I could start off a whole colony from just a pair. Had them in that 150-gallon tank, and that did not work out. So, especially with black bar endlers, I've done tons and tons and tons and tons of black bar endlers. Many colonies of them. One of my favorite fish. Try to get more than just a pair. so you can get them breeding and get them going. And by the way, endlers don't necessarily have the strongest genetics in the world because they are small, generally prey food. So keep that in mind. We had a super chat that I missed. Oh, man. Thanks, guys, for pointing that out. Alvin Alejo's been super busy. Hope you're doing great. It's going well. I'm recovering from the super mega flu that my baby gave me. Which I wonder where did my little Olivia image go? It's named something weird. I think it's this one. Nope. It has like a really weird name. Is that it? No, that's that. Well, I got this one. Oh, there we go. There's my little peanut baby. Baby girl, she gave me poison. She incubated a super mega virus in her body and then coughed in my eye and gave me her infectious disease. And then I almost died. What do we got? Is this an image that has no image? What's going on here? What's this? Let's find out what this is. Is that not working? I guess it's an image that has no image. Well, that's useless. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, we'll go with this one. We'll put her down here. Gosh, what is going on with these pictures today? They're like, have no touch up in the color. There we go. Make her look a little more vibrant. Not like a weird zombie. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully I answered the water change question today. I don't know. We shall see. I shall call you Denise from now on. Who's that? Who's being called Denise? Somebody. Bentley Pasco. I can remember my first day in radio class. My teacher wanted me to permanently change my name to Bentley. And speak with an English accent. That is awful. I don't like that idea. That's a bad idea. It's a 15-gallon cycle with 4 male antlers and lots of my new guppy fry. Water parameters are fine. Water changes every couple of days. No other fish are showing symptoms. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Some prey fish die, so antlers don't live that long. All right. All right, guys, my coughing is seriously increasing, so I think I'm going to have to go rest my chops here for a little bit. It's been however long, and that's the show. Boy.